We've got movie reviews with Tim Lammers, and it's brought to you by Bradshaw and Bryant. Seeking justice for the injured. You can learn more at minnesotapersonalinjury.com. Tim, we're looking at Pacific Rim Uprising, and then we've got a video that we're going to talk about. Good morning.
Absolutely. Well, good morning, Kelly. Yeah, it's interesting because Guillermo del Toro's done some great stuff over the years. I mean, certainly he won for The Shape of Water recently, but he did Hellboy. He also did this movie about 5 years ago called Pacific Rim. Interesting concept. It was about sea monsters coming out of the Pacific Ocean, giant sea monsters, Godzilla-sized monsters. And the only way humans could battle them were to pilot these giant robots. I really liked the movie. I know a lot of people weren't necessarily big fans of it, but I thought it was refreshing enough. 5 years later, they're back. The giant sea monsters aren't there necessarily right away, but the robots are, and the robots are hijacked by the sea monsters. So all of a sudden you have this Transformers-like clash going on between the giant robots versus the giant robots. To me, that sort of thing seems repetitive. If you like that sort of thing, you'll like this movie. Personally, I just found it kind of dull, but there is one shining aspect of the thing. John Boyega, who starred as Finn in the last couple Star Wars films, shows off a lot more personality than we've gotten from him in those films. We actually get to hear his real British accent, which is cool. It's a lot to carry on his shoulders, though. So, again, unless you're a big fan of that sort of thing, I'm not sure you're going to like Pacific Rim Uprising.
All right, well, let's head to your video. What's your video review for the week? Yeah.
The video. Now, I think, at least judging by the box office numbers for this film, it's going on $1 billion worldwide. Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle is the name of the picture. And actually, this is considered a sequel to Robin Williams' 1995 film, which I think is a classic. I think it's a great film. I mean, honestly, anything with Robin Williams is great. This one has a huge twist. In the 1995 film, a pair of kids play a board game. They unleash this man trapped within the game for decades, and he brings with him this jungle world to the real world. This new film finds 4 teens who are sucked into this 90s video game version of Jumanji, and they take on the likenesses of the avatars that they are playing in the game. So all of a sudden these teens look like Dwayne Johnson, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, Karen Gillan. The film is hilarious. The action and the special effects are top-notch. Great movie all around. Great video pick for this week.
All right. So that is just kind of a brief look at one movie and a video that's coming out. Now let's dig in a little bit deeper. Okay, let's talk more about this Pacific Rim. Now when I looked at the reviews for it, I do love the Star Wars series because of my kids. So I'm going to want to watch it just because of the role that he plays there. But is it,
right, yeah.
Is it like, it's all Transformer-like? Is that what it's like?
It certainly feels that way. And honestly, that's the problem with sequels. I mean, this thing took 5 years. Generally, if you got a hit, you're going to turn this thing around right away. I think they took the time to try to figure out, what are we going to do with this that's different? Because if you saw the first film, and sorry, spoiler alert, you've had 5 years to see that first film.
Yeah, right.
They're these giant sea monsters that they beat them back to where they came from. So, the option for a sequel is the monsters reemerge, or you do something different. Well,
right.
This one, they did something a little different where the monsters find a way to take control of certain robots. So all of a sudden it's robots versus robots. So yeah, it feels a lot like Transformers.
Okay, let's talk about the special effects and stuff. I mean, I love Transformers. Even when the Transformers get like bad reviews, I just think they're the cutest movies for kids. It's just, I remember my brother playing with those little Transformers, and I love them because they just take me back to childhood.
Well, look, I love the first Transformers film, and that was from 2007. I thought the series got weaker, but you got to remember, I see so many movies, Kelly, that, I get movied out.
I'm sure.
So, it's hard to get re-engaged in something that feels repetitive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, the special effects are spectacular. I mean, there's no questioning that. for me, obviously, what I like to see new is some sort of narrative. Again, I think they found an original enough idea to usher us back into the story with the monsters taking over the robots in a sort of way. And you're going to figure out why as the picture goes along. But, once they start battling each other, I mean, you got to remember a year ago, we had Transformers: The Last Night.
Yeah.
And a lot of plot, there was a lot of the plot from that film that is so similar to this film. You got to step back and you say, don't these producers commiserate and say, you know what, I have that character doing this. Maybe I shouldn't do this for my film. But, you find the exact same plot points. However, on the upside, you have somebody like John Boyega, who I think, again, I love him as Finn in the Star Wars movies anyway, but now we get to hear his real British accent. We get some of his, I think, real personality in this. I think he just is given so much more to work with in this film as far as his natural charm. He can be funny. He has the weight of the world on his shoulders battling these things naturally, but it's not the weight of the universe on his shoulders like Star Wars. So I really like him, and there's some likable people in this film.
Okay, so that's good news. I think this is something that I would want to see. And the one Jumanji, which we're talking about, is out on video now. This was up in our theaters just until like a week ago, and now of course it's off because it's available on video. But I'm like you, I remember the original Jumanji with Robin Williams and the kids. And this one, apparently, people are really digging it. I mean, Dwayne Johnson, Robin Williams, a little bit different there.
Yeah.
Yeah? What do you think?
It's interesting. Look, and again, I think this is an interesting way to pull your audiences in. Obviously, you have the folks like you and I, Kelly, who love that first film. And then you have a new generation. Obviously, sadly, kids don't play board games as much as they used to, but obviously they play video games. They're into retro stuff.
Sure. This
film starts out in the mid-'90s with a retro video game console.
Oh.
And they mysteriously get pulled into this game. They put a twist on the narrative. So all of a sudden, these teenagers all of a sudden look like Dwayne Johnson and Jack Black and Kevin Hart and Karen Gillan. But the fun thing about it is that it's these actors totally play against their type, which I think is great. I mean, one thing that you can, like with the Dwayne Johnson movie especially, he's such of a big action movie hero now.
Yeah.
There's a danger of him becoming almost a caricature of himself because, he's going to rescue the world again. Well, this time he plays this kid that's afraid, that's a hypochondriac. And, he's out in the jungle where he could get ill and all this stuff. So it's fun to see somebody like Dwayne Johnson, who I really love, play comedy as well as he does. I think the guy is a very funny actor. I think Kevin Hart and Jack Black are funnier, but I think that Dwayne Johnson definitely has something going. I think his range is a lot bigger than people give him credit for.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it's kind of like you don't expect that from him, so I think people that don't watch a lot of his movies go, oh, he's just trying to make money in the movies. But I think he does a good job. I really do.
Yeah, I think he's a very passionate guy. Mm-hmm. I mean, he came from a world, WWE, where, anytime anybody tries to cross over, whether it be a singer who wants to act or an actor who wants to sing or a wrestler who wants to act. I mean, anytime you cross over from one big medium to the next, there's always going to be people that are going to doubt you. And I think that he's worked really, really hard to dispel any sort of, bad karma that comes with that sort of thing. I mean, people almost want people to fail in these sorts of things. And I think that he's proven so many people wrong. He can't do Shakespeare yet.
Yeah. And he doesn't seem to take himself.
Past him. I mean, this guy is a passionate guy, and as long as you have that passion, I think anything is possible.
Well, and with him, he's confident, and he's also like, hey, I know who I am. I know where I'm at in my abilities, and you can say what you want. I'm going to be fine, and I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. That's the image I get from him.
And the nostalgia. Again, the nostalgia's big with this one because of the original movie.
Definitely worth getting on DVD then. Or
Absolutely,
video.
Yeah. You can get it on video on demand as well. But this week it's Blu-ray, DVD, 4K, whatever you watch at home. Yeah, definitely put this one on your list.